Like my L3. Oh, we just got the 4732 L40 last time too. And I kind of wanted to talk about these guys. Um, you might notice the chassis looks pretty similar. Ah, yeah, you can see the difference there. Um, and the cool thing is that Bitterly Italy um, kind of got their money's worth out of this idea of a tankette. Um, so the L333 was the first one, and there's actually like 7 or 8 derivatives of L3s. There's the L335. There was a flamethrower version. There was a the 20 millimeter. There was the L338, which actually had a 13 millimeter machine gun instead of the two 8 millimeters. It's just a lot of really cool things with them, and I'd like to see them more than that. But um, the big grief I see with this thing right now is that the uh, the engine is just too small. You know, not enough horsepower. I'm really struggling just to get up hills and over obstacles that other tanks could just kind of roll right over. But the L6 is slightly bigger. Well, actually, hold on. I have numbers. Um, this is what I was doing at work today. When you have 12 hours to sweep floors, you find some ways to entertain yourself. So this thing, the L3, is 2.7 tons, is about 9 feet 11 inches on length, and about 3 feet high. The L640 here is what's it mean reserve? That's weird. 3 tons, 10 feet 4 inches, and 4.3. So that right off the bat. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Fuck. Um, the L6 is 6.8 tons, 12 feet 5 inches long, and 6'8" high. So it's significantly bigger, and that allowed it to have a slightly bigger engine that just gave it more horsepower. And that's actually what the L4732 is. It is a L6 with a 47 instead of a 20 mil. And this is kind of just like Italy gave a whole the I think they're the nationalists or fascists, whatever they were. They gave the side of Spain that they were supporting a bunch of L3s, and Germany sent them as many Panzer ones as they could afford to send. And everyone's conclusion was armor-piercing machine gun rounds isn't enough. We need a 20 mil. And that's actually where the Panzer II came from, and that's actually where the L6 came from too. They both kind of had a very similar. What does it mean, reserve? I don't know, man. So that's kind of my big spiel today, is that they really got as much use out as they could out of these tankettes, and there's a good reason for that. So it was 1931, I believe, that the T-26 first entered the Spanish Civil War. Let's take a look at that guy. Nope. Fuck. Yeah, they had BT-5s and T-26s, and these were actual tanks at that point with a 45 millimeter cannon. And supposedly when the armor came up against armor, There was no competition on which was better. So that began the great arms race of we need 37s on everything. Um, and Italy didn't get an actual turret tank until the M1340, and this guy, the fuck, I don't know what this means. Okay, whatever. This guy first showed up in 1939 or 1940 in service finally. 15 tons to the T-26's 8, and with a kind of similar cannon with a similar layout. And it took the Italians 9 years to throw this thing together. That's how far behind they were industrially, you know. So it really makes sense for like that stopgap interim period. They had all this shit to help them kind of cover that gap. And of course, we're missing one vehicle that I'm actually really excited to look at. And it's actually going to be the next one after I finish. Well, actually, no, you know what? We're just going to start him now. And that's the M1139. Let's test drive it. And this thing's really cool. This was their first actual medium tank. Italian identifiers can look really confusing until you really kind of understand the system. Basically, if it's an L, it means light. If it's M, it means medium size. And I think they had P, which was heavy, or pesante. And then the 11 is the weight in tons, and then the /39 is just the year it came out. Okay, so this is another tank that has a hull-mounted cannon, much like the L3 and much like the 47. Now the difference, and it's kind of hard to see, is that it does have a turret, but that turret is 2 machine guns, which is pretty goddamn crazy. So you can see this fucking thing's going everywhere. And again, it's got that wacky, tabacky, double 8mm Beretta 38s set up there. Now in the hull we have a 37mm, which is really weird because if you know anything about the M13 or the M1340 and all of those, is that those are 47mm, and same as the Svante 4732. You know, so this is kind of a weird gun just in general, and I think it just kind of attributes to the Italians either had a lot of they had a lot of just like machine guns and cannons of various makes and models. No real standardization, and they also bought a lot of stuff off of like Switzerland. They would buy a lot of arms from. That's where they got those 20mm anti-tank rifles for the L3. So this was Italy's first actual medium tank. kind of a weird bird. It's an 11 ton, so it's definitely not a tankette anymore, but you can still kind of see with that sloped front and giant road wheels in the front, there's still some of the L3 biology in here. I wish I could figure out how to do the X-ray. That would be nice. Okay. So, back to this thing. This was kind of a stopgap measure for Italy to get production rolling on the M1340s. So it wasn't really intended to be in service long, and I think it did okay for the most part. Beyond, you know, just like probably being outgunned by most British stuff they encountered in Africa. They only made about 100 of these guys, I think. I just like that it's got that machine gun up top on the turret. See, that's a rock. Makes for an interesting kind of design, and it's a nice red herring, actually. Oh, is that what that is? Now look, it's the primary purpose of a tank. Let's shoot in there, actually. Covering fire. Take that, infantry. Get out of that hole. Going in. If I can get up there. Yeah. We're now the hole. Okay. That's enough of that.